Hey guys, lately I've been doing a lot of sanding and grinding on aluminum, as you can tell, but this time around I came across a secret weapon that I'm gonna bust out, and this should make a world of difference. So what I'm referring to is a rubber sanding drum that goes on a bench grinder. I've had this around the shop for a few years, but never really had the right sandpaper nor a reason to use it. I've got a few aluminum parts here that I'm gonna try out with that sanding drum. A lot of this stuff has casting marks on it, such as this triple clamp, got a casting line, and all the casting texture. See what I can do with that. The linkage has casting line on it as well. I think that'd look pretty cool if that was smoothed out. And then I've got the swing arm. This one is gonna be a ton of fun to sand out. All right, the drum just slips onto the shaft like so. So kind of how this works is the sandpaper belt just slips onto here, and you can see it's kind of a loose fit, but as soon as the wheel is spinning, the rubber expands and holds that sandpaper into place. I didn't mention this in the previous sanding videos, but it should be pretty obvious. You'll definitely want to use a good respirator and goggles whenever you're sanding any type of metal, especially aluminum. All right, let's get to work. One last thing before I get started with sanding. I'm gonna try using this grease stick on the belt, and I'm hoping that helps with the cutting action and also prevents the material from building up on the sandpaper. So far the sanding drum is working amazing on these more open areas, but in the tighter spots, can't really get in there, so I'm gonna swap out the drum for the coarse Scotch-Brite wheel. So I've got most of the linkage sanded down so far, and it is looking super smooth. Really impressed with how well that sanding drum is working, but it's easy to go over the top and remove too much material. As you can see right here, I kind of made some gouges, but I'm gonna clean that up with a cartridge roll and then get in these tighter areas as well. Super happy with the finish I ended up with here on the outside. Looks incredible. Now for the inside, I'm gonna touch that up with a little wire wheel on a drill. All I can say is holy crap, looks like these parts just rolled off of a CNC machine. Absolutely stunning. Now my hope is to get the swing arm looking just as good. That is going to be a tall task though. One thing to keep in mind if you're going to be sanding the sides of a swing arm, they are anodized, and sanding that anodizing off could be really dangerous if you're not wearing a respirator. So the reason I'm sanding down the sides and the top is to remove the anodizing, and also just to get it to a clean, smooth finish again. As you can see on this side, I haven't touched it yet, and there's some scratches here, and all that will come out with sanding. So basically what I'm gonna do here is knock down what I can with the sanding drum, and then attack the rest of the swing arm with the coarse Scotch-Brite wheel. At this stage, I've done everything I can do with the sanding drum, and now with the cartridge rolls, I'm going to knock down some of these other markings and then finish it off with the Scotch-Brite wheel. This thing is starting to take shape. Let's see what the coarse Scotch-Brite wheel can do now. All right, here is what she's looking like right now. Scotch-Brite wheel definitely did some work. On the bottom side here, wasn't too picky about it, but got it looking pretty good. So now I've just got the inside right here and back here as well. So I'm gonna knock down these casting lines with a sandpaper roll. Since I can't get into the inside of the swing arm with the buffing machine, I've got a Scotch-Brite wheel on a drill. See what kind of damage I can do with this. Got the swing arm looking pretty good, but it's still got that rough finish to it. So far, most of the work has been done with a rough Scotch-Brite wheel, and now I'm going to put the finishing touches on the swing arm with a finer grade Scotch-Brite wheel. Both of these wheels are available over on my website, by the way, and they are absolutely necessary if you're going to be doing any type of finishing work on aluminum. I'll put the links down in the description. So she is looking sweet after that last buff, but as you can see, the finish is somewhat inconsistent. And that's usually how it is buffing such a large part on a machine. I'm gonna finish it off by hand with the Scotch-Brite pad, and that should give it a lot more consistent look. The key here is gonna be to buff in the same direction the whole time. On this part, I'll be buffing in the length of the swing arm. So I'll be moving in this direction here. And that'll give it a really consistent feel. If I go across the grain like that, It'll have crosshatch marks, and that won't turn out very good. Well guys, here is the finished product. I am pretty stoked with the outcome, but I have way too much time into this thing though. So my favorite thing about this type of finish, especially on a swing arm, is when it gets dirty, stained, scuffed up. All I'll need to do is grab the Scotch-Brite pad, give it a little buff, and she'll be looking as good as ever. With the swing arm finished up, let's take a little halftime break and pick the winner from the giveaway a few videos back. Once again, I'll be using the random comment picker. So this is gonna pick a complete random comment from a few videos back. As soon as I click start here, it is gonna pick the random comment. Who will it be? All right, we've got Hunter Greenup, and he says Prime. So Hunter Greenup, shoot me a message here on YouTube, and this Prime MX hat will be yours. For the rest of you, you can pick up your own Prime MX hat at primemx.com. And now for the rest of the parts. Pretty much going to be the same exact process, starting with the sanding drum and then moving on to the two different grades of Scotch-Brite wheels. These top triple clamps are always a ton of fun to sand, since they look super cool all smoothed out. So I'm done with the sanding drum. I'm going to move on to the Scotch-Brite wheel, and that'll take care of all these tighter areas. Alright guys, these parts are now finally done. What a fun project this was. I learned a ton throughout the process of refinishing this stuff. Well, that is it for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up. And don't forget to go grab yourself a Scotch-Brite wheel over on primemx.com. If you're going to be doing any sort of metal refinishing, these come in super handy. And as far as the sanding drum goes, if you're going to buy one of those, use the link down in the description. Alright guys, I will see you around. Take care.